Four corners of hell. Once again, defending my Viral Championship. But tonight, at Four Corners, it's a little bit different. Because for the first time, I have an opponent that's actually earned the chance to face me. And I'm actually looking forward to this match. Because Christopher Slade, just like those of us of tradition, so far you've shown no signs of being one of these hardcore pieces of crap that permeates a naturally horrifying stench from Culture Shock Wrestling. So I'm honestly looking forward to facing you at Four Corners of Hell. I mean, we have a lot in common. I mean, we're both naturally good-looking men. We have great in-ring talent. And we both share the most amazing first name ever conceived by mankind. But our similarities in there. I mean, like me, you've made a big impact since coming to CSW in a very short time. But my impact's been just a little bit bigger than yours. That's if I see you tonight at Four Corners. I've heard rumors that something may have happened to impede your progress to taking my title. So we'll see what happens. If you show up, be prepared to bring better than your A game, because if you underestimate me in the least, you'll find that the next morning you'll be passing teeth like kidney stones.
Fans, welcome once again to Culture Shock Wrestling Viral. I am Mike Roycroft, joined once again by the man full of surprises, full of a lot of things, the story of the year, Brian Cage. And Brian, have you picked a good episode to come back? We saw at the opening there, Chris Brackin talking about defending his Viral title, but does he have a challenger?
Well, according to CSW management, there will be a Viral Internet Championship match on this episode of Viral. It is in the contract. It's just a matter. This whole Chris Brackin not really knowing what's going on I'm calling BS on that one all the way.
Yeah, not exactly the king of subtlety there. I think we all know Chris Brackin has an idea of what happened to Christopher Slade. It was really a shame because Slade was on such a roll, won that big triple threat #1 contendership match, was on his way for a big title shot here against Chris Brackin. Not going to happen now. We will see how that unfolds in the future. Not only do we have that match, we have a big tag team match on the show today, Brian.
That's right, Initial Shock, and we have a return for a tag team match. Shown Up Sexy apparently has gotten back together, so to speak. The band is back together, and they're going to be right here on Viral.
As if that's not enough excitement, we are building up to our next show. That is Summer Showdown, June 28th at the House of Hardcore. And the big match, it's already been signed, a tag team match. The world's heavyweight champion of AIWF, Justin Overstreet, teams with his tradition teammate, the CSW champion, Chris Ty. They're going to be taking on the respective men that they just defeated last time around, Mr. Hardcore John Riker and Lane Smart.
Well, John Riker was CSW champion. You can give him all the credit in the world that you want for being a tough guy and showing his pride and not turning down the challenge of Chris Ty. But either way you cut it, Chris Ty is the CSW champion. And according to management, if John Riker wants that rematch for the CSW title, he's got to win this tag team title. Not only him, but Lane Smart would also get another shot for the AIWF World title. That's on the line for both of these guys. It's not about titles tonight. It's about getting another opportunity.
And that's a lot of talent in the ring. You definitely want to be there June 28th, Saturday night at the Mossy Head Community Center. But right now, we're going to go to the ring. Let me pull out my old bag of tricks here.
We always go old school when I'm here.
Did I lose track of it? Here we go. What the? I told them to dry clean this. What did they do? Put it in the wash? Brian Cage, I'm not sure if we've had a blackout here at the House of Hardcore.
Oh, I think that's one way to put it.
Something's afoot here. What was it, Christmas? Are we lighting the tree?
It's an epileptic's dream.
Are we having a rave?
Hey!
Oh, look at that. Showing up sexy. Shogun Shane Gibson and the world's sexiest man, Chuck Diamond.
Been a while since we've seen these guys in the ring together.
Indeed. Nice to see these guys back. And the fans certainly happy to see them. Shane with a pretty nifty setup on the hoodie there. Lighting it up. Hey, a little bit of show business never hurts, huh?
That's why it's called sports entertainment.
These two guys are certainly entertaining. And we are showcasing our tag team division here. Culture Shock Wrestling. Making their way to the ring. Former tag team champions as well. Initial Shock, Extreme G, and JT Angel. These two teams know each other very well, Brian.
They know each other very well. They also know the tag team championship in CSW very well. Both teams former multiple-time tag team championship holders. Tag team championship in CSW, some of the most prestigious titles on the Gulf Coast. Fun fact, I've never held the CSW tag team title.
Well, I was just about to make mention of the fact that I'm sure you're scouting this out now that you no longer have a surprise partner. You have a very solid partner.
Yeah, that's
Suicidal Soldier.
That whole surprise element was really just a red herring, if you will. I gotta give myself credit sometimes, and I like to pull tricks out of the bag every now and then. I like to think the Suicidal Soldier was a great trick to pull out of the hat.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the most top-notch competitors I've ever witnessed on the Gulf Coast. I know you guys have had epic battles in the past, other places, as well as teaming up together. I'm glad you guys are back on the same page. It should be something else, and I think that's really going to shake up the tag team division. But for right now, we've got Initial Shock and Show Enough Sexy going at it. Extreme G and Chuck Diamond locking up.
Well, and you make the point, shaking up the tag team division. This is the tag team division right here in a nutshell. Show Enough Sexy, Initial Shock, two of the longest tenured teams left in Culture Shock Wrestling. I'm sure there's some whispers going around here lately that a couple of guys are starting to band together. I think we're going to see some more tag teams popping up here in the future. But right now, this is the status quo, and this is what myself and Soldier are up against.
And of course, the tag team that everybody's got their eyes on, CSW Tag Champs and members of Tradition, Marcus Gibbs and Street Bandit. They've, I believe they're undefeated as a tag team. They've really gelled together quickly, grabbed the gold immediately, and have held on to it. They are going to be formidable opponents for any team, Brian.
Well, one thing about becoming, and much less becoming tag team champions, but staying tag team champions, is you got to have chemistry. You got to be able to know where your partner is at all times, to know what he has in his bag of tricks, to kind of mesh together like a fine stew, if you will. That's what tag team wrestling is. These four guys have that chemistry with each other. Myself, Suicidal Soldier, that's why I picked Suicidal Soldier. I had to have somebody to have chemistry with. Street Bandit, Marcus Gibbs have unbelievable chemistry.
I would certainly agree with you there. And on many levels, tag team wrestling has become a bit of a lost art. Not really quite as prominent nationally as it once was. So it's good to see CSW trying to bring it back to its past glory here. And oh, what a vicious clothesline by Chuck Diamond.
And you want to talk about tag team glory. This is how prestigious the CSW tag titles are. Marcus Gibbs, Street Bandit, the current #1 contenders for the AIWF World Tag Team Champions. Oh!
Wow, look at that kick. Right to the mush there by Shane Gibson. This could be it. But yes, you hit the nail on the head, Brian. I noticed that pretty much immediately after Gibbs and Bandit got the gold that they were ranked #1 nationally in the AIWF for the World Tag Team Championships. And that's not only a feather in the cap of Tradition and the cap of
Street Bandit Marcus Gibbs, but in the cap of Culture Shock Wrestling here.
It really speaks volumes of the tag team division as a whole, of those tag team championships and what they mean, not just to Culture Shock Wrestling, but to the region as a whole.
It remains to be seen when the AIWF Tag Champions might be making an appearance here. We've already seen Justin Overstreet defending his singles world's title.
Could you imagine Tradition holding the World Heavyweight and World Tag Team Championship?
Well, they got their hands pretty full of gold as it is, but I'm sure that they'd welcome the opportunity for more and higher up in the rankings there. Number one contender means you've still got one step to go, and I'm sure Street Bandit and Marcus Gibbs do not want to settle for being second best to anybody. Extreme G returning the favor, big kick to the face there. Now, let's see how Initial Shock puts their tag team skills together. Nice drop kick after a drop down by JT Angel.
You want to talk about tag team championship rankings? CSW has been doing its own championship rankings here as of late. Initial Shock's steadily been in the top 3 tag teams in CSW here in the last few months. You know, they definitely want to make a climb up now that the Fist is kind of out of the way as far as the tag team division is concerned. I mean, they were the team that lost that triple threat tag title match that I was involved in last time on Viral. You got to think that kind of pushes the Fist down in the rankings. Maybe whoever wins this one can jump up a couple of spots.
You know, you bring up an interesting point because it seemed for the longest time before Street Bandit and Marcus Gibbs came together, it was the Fist that dominated the tag team scene for quite a while with their various incarnations and tag team members. They seem to have lost their mojo a little bit there, at least in the tag team scene.
Well, I think part of that has to do with the rotating door that has been the Fist, especially as of late. You got guys coming in and out, whatever's going on in Cali Kid's mind. It's not, the chemistry just isn't there like it has been in the past.
You know what? It also coincides with Muggs O'Malley joining the Fist. Maybe he's a bit of a curse.
You know, maybe he's just getting them drunk.
That could be it too.
They're drinking too much before matches. Everything's all footloose and fancy free in the world of Muggs the Leprechaun.
Hitting the flask a little bit too often.
I hear him and Lecter have some interesting drinking games.
Oh wow. They probably speak the same language before that's all over with. But back to the action we're seeing here, not to minimize what's going on in the ring at all. JT Angel keeping the momentum over Shane Gibson here. Big Russian leg sweep looks like he's setting for. Hits it with precision.
Driving the back of the skull onto the canvas.
Oh, nice reversal by Shane Gibson.
It's good knowing where you are in the ring, knowing where your opponent is. That lackadaisical cover that JT Angel puts on leads it right into a crucifix takeover.
So he's quick to make the tag there. And again, one of the, as I mentioned, the art of tag team wrestling, one of the big things you want to do is isolate your opponent. Keep making the quick tags and double team on the guy. Don't give him a chance to get up. It's certainly one of the unique aspects of tag team wrestling that doesn't exist so much in the
Oh!
Wow!
Holy!
My God!
Good Lord!
I think we might need a stretcher and an ambulance here. Wow! Extreme G just spiked down onto the mat by Shane Gibson. Unusually vicious maneuver on the part of
oh my God,
the happy-go-lucky Shane Gibson. He makes the tag to Chuck Diamond. Thankfully, Extreme G makes the tag too. That could have been the end of his career right there. Chuck Diamond keeping the momentum going. Big belly to belly. Of course, it's always a big belly to belly coming from Chuck Diamond.
That is true. That is true.
Doesn't quite put JT Angel away. You can tell Extreme G is really in a bad way here. JT Angel left to fend for himself a bit. Trying to stop the back roll here, and looks like he got a handful of tights there. Chuck Diamond picking up the win. I think JT Angel paused to look at his partner and see
I think,
the kind of trouble he was in and lost his focus, and Chuck Diamond was right there to take advantage.
Well, he might have been looking for a little help there from G, but G's still knocked out.
You got to figure this moves Chuck Diamond and Shane Gibson just a little bit closer to possibly a tag team title match in the future. Marcus Gibbs and Street Bandit, I'm sure, are watching this very closely. Oh, now we see a little bit of hard feelings there between two teams that originally shook hands upon getting in the ring. Well,
that's what we like to see.
There we go.
You know, have your animosity, but at the end of the day, it's all about sport and spectacle.
Culture Shock Wrestling fans, hardcore hellions everywhere, lend me your ears. For the first time in viral history, we are able to offer you the official CSW t-shirt. Made by Harbor Screen Printing, these high-quality t-shirts sport the chic, trendy, upscale stylings of the Culture Shock Wrestling imprint. Available in all sizes, these shirts will only be on sale for a limited time at a price of $15 or $18 for plus sizes. For more information, please visit us at facebook.com/Culture Shock Wrestling or visit our concession stand at the next live event for your t-shirt. You do not want to miss out on your chance to style and profile in a piece of CSW history. Well, Brian, we certainly hope Extreme G is all right. That was a pretty nasty shot he took there on the mat, spiked down by Shane Gibson.
Yeah, anytime you have that kind of body weight crushing down on your neck, it's bad news. So we hope everything's all right with G. But nevertheless, Shown Up Sexy coming away with the win, and you got to think that's got to bring them up into the tag team title rankings.
Well, certainly we will see where that takes them in the future, but in the immediate future, our next show, June 28th, Summer Showdown, I understand somebody standing in my close proximity already has a tag team title shot signed.
Oh, yeah. That's right. CSW management has given a chance for me and Suicidal Soldier to go one-on-one this time with Tradition for the Tag Team Championship. Team CSW, we got to come up with a better name than that. I don't know, send in some hashtags, people. We need a better name for me and Suicidal Soldier. Versus Tradition.
Suicidal Story? I don't know. No, that doesn't ring right.
Send in your hashtags.
Soldiers of the Year? No.
Yeah.
I'm not good at this, folks.
I'm terrible at it.
But that ought to be a great match, and as you alluded, you're not going to have the fist in your way this time. It's going to be a direct tag team match. Formidable opponents on both sides. You and the return of the exciting, the thrilling Suicidal Soldier, who can do all those amazing things up in the air, but of course, the very tough tag team champions of Marcus Gibbs and Street Bennett. They are not going to go down easy.
No, they're going to bring everything they got. We're going to bring everything that we got. It's going to be one hell of a tag team collision, and I promise you, at some point, you will see myself and Suicidal Soldier standing over Tradition.
Certainly something to look forward to, and you can only catch that at the Mossy Head Community Center Saturday, June 28th. Mark your calendars. We want you to be there. Right now, I got to go to the ring and introduce the Viral Champion. Find out who his opponent is. Let's see what's going on.
Well, Chris Brackin, I mean, you saw him at the top, kind of implying that he had something to do with... It's irrelevant at this point. The fact of the matter is, Christopher Slade unable to compete for the Viral Internet Championship, and now it seems that, well, Chris Brackin has a open date on his calendar tonight. Keep the music playing, please. And I eagerly anticipate it. Well, yeah, that's the whole point of the show. issuing a challenge to a guy that he knows for a fact is not here. Someone's got to step up. I mean, this title has to be defended. It's the whole... the whole point of the Viral Internet Championship is a championship to be defended right here on Viral. Somebody's got to step up. Come on, guys. I can't do everything myself. All right, I think business is about to pick up. Talk about guys ready to prove themselves. Logan Paige, newcomer to CSW, looks like he's going to step up to the plate. How huge would this be? I mean, the Viral title has in its short history already has its share of major upsets, guys trying to make a name for themselves. I tell you, a win for Logan Paige would do just that, put him on the map. Well, looks like we're going to get a title match after all. Ring the bell, let's get to it. Mike, you were in there. Sit down for a second. Take your breath. What is going through that fabulous main event of his?
Well, I would imagine he's a little caught off guard here. But what an opportunity for Logan Paige. Hasn't been at CSW for long, but the Indiana Anvil is no newcomer to the ring, and I think he's ready to take Chris Brackin by surprise on more than one level here.
Well, it's like I was saying before you got here. Guys want to prove themselves in CSW, and there's no better platform to do that than right here on Viral. Viral Internet Champion, I mean, you got an open spot to go for that title. It's very smart of him to step in there.
And what a stroke of luck that Chris Brackin would be without an opponent the night of Four Corners of Hell. So many of our major hitters are kind of tied up in that main event there.
Well,
so it really leaves a space open for a guy like Logan Paige to make his mark here in CSW.
Well, let's call it what it is. That's not luck. It was pretty obvious from the look on his face that Bracken knows what's going on with Slade. There is no mysterious circumstances. I'm calling foul play. I'm just going to go ahead and call it right now, as if it wasn't obvious enough. Tradition has something to do with this.
Right, I'm not arguing that point. I guess what I was trying to say was, a lot of the people that might step up and say, hey, I'm in line for a title shot here, I'll take his place, they are otherwise occupied tonight. It lets a guy like Logan Paige, who might not have otherwise been given this opportunity, an open chance here. He's basically here looking for an opportunity to get a match and contribute and make a name for himself, and now he's got a bigger opportunity than he expected with the suddenly opponentless Chris Brackin up until now. Let's see how Chris Brackin and hashtag Chris Brackin's hair fare against Logan Paige.
What, are we writing poetry now?
Well,
speaking of wide openings, Paige had an opening to chop Chris Brackin square on the chest, but it looks like he's having PTSD moments about his encounter with John Riker in those chops.
Certainly Chris Brackin's least favorite move, the chop to the chest.
Right behind the hair pull. I mean, he loves to give a hair pull, but you hair pull him and God help you.
Locking in the side headlock here is Viral champion Chris Brackin, taking control of Logan Paige at the moment. Brian, you know a little bit about the element of surprise. having been on perhaps the other side of this, what goes through a wrestler's mind when somebody comes through the curtain that you weren't expecting to face that night?
Well, at that point, you just got to hope that all of your study, all of your homework pays off, because if any champion worth their weight is going to be studying guys, even, without having to face them. You need to know what could potentially be coming your way at any moment. And if Chris Brackin is smart, he's already done his homework on Logan Page.
Well, Paige just throwing out a flurry of offense there with hip tosses, arm drags, and a nice kick there. A back kick that took Bracken down and out of the ring. Looks like he's going to try to regroup here.
And
Logan Page full of fire.
The element of surprise is always going to have an effect, but I think once Bracken's able to calm down, settle down, get into his own head, figure out a game plan, he can go from there. I mean, he's a very capable guy. There's a reason why he has held the Viral title as long as he has.
Indeed. And also being a member of tradition, he knows how to slow things down, get back to the technical aspect of things, and cut a guy's momentum off.
Just like that right there. Paige went for a running knee in the corner, and Bracken caught him, pulled him right into the turnbuckle face first.
Chris Brackin working over Logan Page now. Hard shot to the back there. Trying to take away the mobility. We saw Logan Page was a house of fire. And the way Bracken's going to get ahead here is to immobilize him, basically.
Well, I would say Logan Page has a strength advantage, if not a size advantage. He's definitely got a strength advantage over Bracken. One way you counteract that is you cut off the oxygen. You don't allow the guy to breathe, because I don't care how big, how strong you are, you don't have enough oxygen running to your brain, you're not going to be able to use your power.
Bracken using that 4 count there to perform exactly that strategy. Logan Page in trouble here now after coming on strong at first. Does look like Bracken is indeed going back to the basics of doing his homework and being ready to wrestle here.
Not giving Paige a second to breathe.
Bracken, I believe at this point, might be the longest reigning Viral Internet champion we've had.
All time. That is true.
So he's been very successful in that regard.
It's a short list of Viral champions, but of them all, Chris Brackin has held that title longer than any of them.
True enough. I mean, the title is still somewhat in its infancy, but you got to hand it to Chris Brackin. He has held on to it, and there's that vicious chop to the chest that he fears.
Definitely having flashbacks. Oh, God. Yeah, sure, one more for good measure.
Yep, I think he's hearing the choppers out in the rice paddies right now with that.
Get to the chopper! Oh, he brings him back with one of his own.
Once again, Chris Brackin exercising that experience, turning the momentum around, and as you said, taking the oxygen away from Logan Page.
You know, people call that a dirty move, but the fact of the matter is, unless the referee is giving you a stern warning, if they're just giving you that 5 count, you got to take advantage of it. It's perfectly within the rules. You have 5 seconds to break a count.
That chinlock there sure looks awfully close to the windpipe area. Certainly wouldn't put it past Bracken to take advantage of that. Logan Page rallying here, trying to get the crowd behind him, and they are responding as he elbows his way out of this chinlock from Chris Brackin. Oh, wow.
Vicious kitchen sink right to the midsection.
He just took his legs right out from under him.
You want to talk about taking the wind out of a guy. That will knock the breath right out of you. Going full force and get a running knee to the stomach.
Logan Page certainly has been doing his training and conditioning here. He is not ready to give up yet. Oh, another vicious kick to the shoulder area, neck and shoulders.
The thing about kicking somebody up that high is it gets the back of the lungs. It knocks the wind out of you. Even if momentarily, it causes you to pause long enough to try to catch your breath, and while you're trying to catch your breath, your shoulders are on the count for 3.
Paige does indeed seem to be moving significantly slower at this point. Bracken's strategy paying off. Vicious whip into the turnbuckle there, and you see Paige really struggling to even keep his balance and stay on his feet at this point.
Yeah, he's. You can tell it in his face. He is running on pure instinct right now.
Chris Brackin, though, showing a bit of frustration.
Well, I mean, you got to think he's probably a little frustrated. Thought he was going to get a night off.
Exactly.
Thought his plan had worked. He did not expect someone like Logan Paige stepping up to the plate.
Now Paige reversing. Catches him with a big shot to the face and a back elbow. Suddenly the momentum is back his way. Nice drop kick by Logan Paige.
He's found his second wind.
What has he got in mind here? It can't take too long.
He needs to hurry
Playing
up.
to the crowd.
This is going to cost him, man.
I think so. You cannot
Rookie
take
mistake.
your eyes.
Oh!
Bracken, ready at all times, just lifts the knees and once again cutting both the momentum and the oxygen supply off.
Oh God,
Logan
here we
Paige.
go. Blue Thunder Bomb!
Great form there. And Chris Brackin demonstrating why he is the viral internet champion. Solid showing by Logan Paige, but he comes up on the short end of the stick this time. Still your viral internet champion from tradition. Holding all the gold, it's Chris Brackin.
Once again, Chris Brackin just barely slipping out of there with that viral internet championship. Logan Paige putting up a great fight, but Brackin once again proving that he's really got a firm grasp on that internet title.
Well, and I think the more impressive thing is that he beat him fair and square. There's no shenanigans to deal with on this. Chris Brackin is the viral internet champion for a reason, and he showed that reason right here.
Of course, the big question mark is, what about Christopher Slade? He still has a title match in his future. We'll see what happens there if he can recover from whatever attack took place. Details are still very sketchy at this point. We'll definitely keep you up to date. Another thing we want to keep you up to date is our next live show. We've already talked about it, Summer Showdown, June 28th. We've just gotten word yet another match has been signed. Lucha Lacura, the man who defeated Chris Ty at Four Corners of Hell. Chris Ty, now CSW champion. That makes Lucha Lacura the #1 contender, but he is going to put his contendership on the line against none other than Cali Kid.
Well, CSW management wanted this match to happen. They wanted Lucha Lacura and Cali Kid. Cali Kid's kind of been on that cusp of will he, won't he be the next guy in line for the CSW title. They wanted this match to happen. The #1 contendership on the line. Lucha Lacura putting the #1 contendership up for grabs against Cali Kid. It should be epic. I mean, you remember the last 2 times these guys faced off.
I'm not ashamed to say 2 of my favorite matches I've ever seen between those 2 guys, Lucha Lacura and Cali Kid. Just off the charts when you put those 2 guys in the ring together. So you don't want to miss it. June 28th, mark it on your calendars. Another thing you don't want to miss, our next edition of Viral, we are going to see a rematch. Zane Stevens is going to be taking on David Prime.
Yeah, you saw a couple of weeks ago, David Prime eked out a win over Zane Stevens. Rumor has it Zane's kind of well, I don't know if he's feigning. I don't know if he's legitimate. Apparently, there's something wrong with his wrist. So we're going to find out what that's all about next time on Viral. Either way, the rematch for the ages.
Indeed. We hope to see you there. For Brian Cage, I'm Mike Roycroft. We will catch you next time here on Culture Shock Wrestling Viral.